The first concept is air density. Have you ever driven on a foggy day? You can't see 2 feet in front of you sometimes. Some people ask why the buildings are cut off. But isn't it obvious? Here you can see a cloud of air. Now what is very important to understand is air compounds. Every mile there is more air to look through. When we put several sheets of clear plastic in front of the other, they form a wall that you cannot see through. The atmosphere is filled with oxygen, zinc, carbon, hydrogen, and many other chemicals that forms a wall of density. Let's watch the experiment in action. As you can see, the sun gets cut off from the bottom first. But that's not all. There's many things to discover in this experiment. First of all, you can see the light shrink around the sun as it sets. This is exactly what we see in real life. When the sun sets in our experiment, we see a color change, just like real sunsets. One major difference in our experiment is it's on a small scale and it's low budget. The advantage is you can do this yourself at home. We will now compare to the horizon you see daily, but before we do, we want you first to understand perspective. As you can see, things that move to the horizon get smaller and lower. However, the appearance that they are getting lower is just perspective. You prove this by looking at a long hallway. The altitude of every light in the hallway is the same, right? Some people think in the flat earth that when things hit the horizon they diverge due to optics. And although that's a very interesting idea, we're only working with logical things that we can prove in an experiment. With air density, you can prove sunsets without fancy diverging lines, however true they may be. We have lower atmosphere, middle atmosphere, and high atmosphere. Did you know that the air gets thinner as you get higher? This is because of buoyancy. You see things that are less dense separate from things of greater density. This is why clouds float. This is why helium balloons rise. Remember the buoyancy idea? Well, the high altitude air is thinner, so the wall is a little bit further. This is why the sun changes colors before it sets on a clear day. It gets blocked by the buoyant air, and then its bottom is cut off by the heavier air. You will see, even if the sun is high, it will fall into the horizon. In our experiment, what you won't see is how dramatic of an effect the air has on the sun. It tends to dilate the sun's diameter. This is why when you see a sunset, it doesn't shrink as much as it should. It does shrink, but it also dilates. And if you film the sunset from a high and dry altitude, it'll shrink a lot more. Including if you watch sunset time lapses from airplanes, you'll see the sun shrink. Now we combine all ideas, and you will get this. Right at the horizon there is a 10 to 20 mile high wall of air. The wall of air depends on weather. On high humidity, the wall will be closer. On low humidity, the wall will be further, sometimes hundreds of miles. The air compounds. The sunset we see on the Earth matches one on a flat Earth because of the diameter change of the sun, the shrinking light of the sun, and the sun's path in the sky. However, there are already so many videos debunking a round Earth and proving a flat one, and if you have seen this video up until this point, I would love it if you would do more research on the subject. When searching for the truth, it doesn't matter if the world disagrees with you. If you are right, you are right, and the truth will set you free. Science done honestly is beautiful, and hopefully I have shared a beautiful idea with you. Thanks, and hopefully now we can put the issue of sunsets to rest.